Hey, we're Attention Trading, a full-service digital marketing agency that helps small and mid-sized businesses with their strategic marketing efforts. From websites, design, social media, and ads, our goal is to create marketing alignment for our clients. You may not realize it, but the majority of businesses lack a solid marketing strategy and plan. That's where we come in. On this show, we talk with business owners, founders, and marketers to uncover the secrets of their success when it comes to starting and scaling a business. This is the Attention Trading Podcast. To the Attention Trading Podcast, where we talk with CEOs, owners, founders, and marketers about how they grow, scale, and operate their business. My name is Max Lowy. I'm here with my co-founder of Attention Trading, Steve Alves. Welcome to today's episode. Our guest today is John Majeski, the CEO of SERVPRO. John has been at the helm of multiple SERVPRO franchises, including Marlboro, Tinton Falls, Jersey City North, The Heights, Eatontown, Long Branch, and Hackensack, Little Ferry, leading the charge in fire, water, and mold cleanup and reconstruction for over 16 years. Under his leadership, these franchises have become synonymous with reliability and rapid response in times of disaster. Beyond his remarkable business achievements, John is also known for his incredible charitable fitness challenges, showcasing his dedication to giving back to his community. We're thrilled to have him on the show for him to share his journey, insights about building a successful business, and his passion for philanthropy. John, welcome to the Attention Trading Podcast.
What's up, Max? Thanks for having me. How you doing, Steve?
Thanks for coming, John. Appreciate it.
We're going to dive right in. John, why don't you kick this off? Tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about SERVPRO. I will say you are our first guest who is a franchisee owner. So we'd love to dive into that world a little too with you.
Yeah, so I grew up in Middletown, New Jersey, born and raised. Went to school in Virginia Tech, went to Red Bank Catholic in Red Bank for high school. And when I graduated college, of course, like most college kids, I'm like, what am I going to do? I didn't know exactly 100% what I wanted to do with myself. But I had an interest in finance. So I ended up getting a job working in Midtown Manhattan for a broker-dealer and investment advisor. Worked there for about 3.5, 4 years, a company called Dominic and Dominic. And the investment advisor was Ike Capital, had the best boss. Shout out to Larry Levy, awesome guy. Really liked my company, loved my boss, but I wasn't in love with what I did. I was looking at people, commuting on the train every day, the long grind from Monmouth County up to the city. And I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to do this. I'm not in love with the type of work that I'm doing. And life is too short to be unhappy. So I started looking at different business opportunities because for some reason, ever since I was a kid, I always want to have my own business. So I started looking at like different opportunities because I didn't know exactly like what type of business or didn't have a particular skill per se to like build something and sell it. So I started looking at franchises. I looked at Jiffy Lube. I was actually looking at laundromats, not a franchise, but I was looking at them, looking at some other things. And I stumbled upon this industry and I kind of fell in love with it. Like I was like, wow, it's a great industry. You're helping people, you're making money. It's a business that, no matter what the economy is doing, people are going to need this type of service. So I looked at all different franchises, looked at Pure Clean, Service Master. There was a few other ones, Rainbow International, a few other ones. And I found SERVPRO, and that was a little bit over 16 years ago. Been doing it ever since. Started off with one franchise in Monmouth County, Eatontown, Long Branch. Then about 9-10 years after that, I bought Hackensack, Little Ferry. And then shortly after that, I bought Jersey City North, The Heights, and Marlboro, Tinton Falls. So currently have 4 SERVPRO franchises.
Very cool. Now, when you say you bought them, were they already established or you just bought like that market area?
So the one in Monmouth County, my first one, that was already established. If you want to use established, probably isn't the best word to describe it. A father bought it for his sons and they had it for 8 months. And, this type of work for people that don't know SERVPRO, it's fire and water damage cleanup, mold remediation, sewage cleanup, biohazard cleanup. It's all the stuff that nobody else wants to do. So, and it's 24/7 too. So he bought it for his sons and they're cleaning up like sewage in people's crawl spaces at like 2 a.m. and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So it was only existing for 8 months. They were losing money. They weren't doing well. And I thought it was a great idea to buy them. So that's how I got involved in the business.
Very cool. Now, as CEO of all these different locations, what's your day-to-day look like typically?
Yeah, it's a good question. So like one thing I want to say is like the skill set and the type of person that you are to start it is like a different than what I do today and who I kind of evolved into being as the companies have grown. So in the beginning, I was doing everything. I was, cleaning up the sewage. I was doing the paperwork, the billing. I was doing sales and marketing when I could find time for it. Like I was working 7 days a week for probably my first, I don't know, 7 years, like literally 7 days a week. And it's 24/7. So you don't get to walk up to the door, flip that close sign and people leave you alone. It's like people call you in the middle of the night, right? So you never know, when you're going to get called back out. So that was the beginning. I started with me and one part-time person. Now we're roughly around 40 full-time team members. So now I have, a general manager, I have an operations manager, I have a head of sales and marketing. So basically my day to day now is making sure those people are successful, making sure they have all the tools that they need, the money, the material, depending on what it is, and just making sure that they're successful. That's my main job now. So, we have pretty regular meetings with our leadership team, and then meeting with people individually just to make sure that they're on track and, they're happy with what they're doing. And, they feel like they can hit all the goals that we have for them.
That's awesome. That's yeah, I mean that it makes sense when, starting off all day, every day, you're in the trenches, right? And now
Yeah,
that you've been able to grow and scale to a certain degree, yeah, you've put the right people in the right places, so you can hopefully have a little bit more time to do some other things and I guess help operate the business, not in the trenches so much. Do you still ever
absolutely.
have to go in the trenches for some big project, or you're kind of
I
out of
mean,
that?
no, I really don't have to, but I do sometimes just because, like say we have a big client and the crews are going out 2 in the morning, right? If it's a client that reaches out to me directly because I've been doing business with them for 16 years, sometimes I do go out just because like, maybe they need the help. They don't really need my help, but it's just kind of for like moral support, like, hey,
Yeah.
these guys are doing it for the business. They're sacrificing, getting out of bed at 2 in the morning. Like I'm going to do the same thing and, show them that, hey, we're all doing this together. It's not just them. And, John just gets to sleep in all the time or anything like that.
Yeah, leading by
So,
example.
so going into the whole aspect of going from a two-man band to a 40-person team, for you personally, is that success, or is your ambition just wildly higher than that? Like, do you think right now, at the size of the company you are, like this is good for you, or are you expecting, or do you want to grow in the next X amount of years?
Yeah. So like where we want to go, like my mentality, like, and I know we're going to probably talk about some of the charity stuff I do, is like I have like a no regrets mindset. And what that is someday when I'm an old man, laying in bed, you know, like on my deathbed, so to speak, I don't want to look back and be like, I coulda, shoulda, woulda, so to speak. So I always try to take everything to, I'm not going to say the extreme, but like I just want to keep, like I don't want to have any regrets. So what I mean by that is like, no, I'm not happy where we are with 40 people. Like I'm very proud of everything that we've done, and I am happy with my team and all that. But like I want to have 80 people. I want to have 100 people. I want to have 150 people. Because one thing that I found over the years is like when I started the business 16 years ago was to make money, wanted to have my own business, right? And as that evolved and we started becoming profitable and all the things that come along with it, like I started building this team, and you see the business grow, you see the team grow, and you see their skill sets, grow with it. And it's like the fishbowl effect. Like if the fishbowl doesn't get any bigger, the fish aren't going to grow, or they'll jump into another fishbowl. So like I want to grow this business because I want to create more opportunity like for the team and have them keep growing within the organization. So the answer is yes, we definitely want to keep growing.
I love that mindset. And we always ask that question because for some companies, because like as marketers, right, we always want to try to push the envelope with people. We're like, okay, if you're at X, like what can we do marketing wise to get you X plus one, plus two, plus three? And some companies are just like, no, this is what we are is totally fine. You know, we're happy being the the fish that we are in this pond. But no, that's great to hear because we're the same aspect. We're like we are trying to push every single day the best we possibly can and try to grow responsibly but grow as big as we possibly can. So it's great to hear.
Yeah, I think you have to. I don't think there's status quo. I don't think it exists. I think you're either growing or dying. And it doesn't mean that you have to like, 10x like, every few years or anything like that, but like you definitely have to have the growth mindset or else somebody else is going to come eat your lunch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
for sure.
it's cool too because growth, it's so different for everyone, right? So like for you, you're saying you want to go from 40 to 80, right? I'm sure that there's also growth as far as, yeah, we want to be responsible, we want to be more efficient, we want to be more profitable,
Yes.
right? It's not just a number count, it's all of these things. But then, what you're doing, you're helping people, right? So like
Yeah.
your growth and what does success mean for you? Like that, you're, it could be, hey, we're able to help X amount of people now rather than, oh yeah, we have 150 people, team members. Like, no, we're helping thousands of people on a regular basis now because we are so large or we have the capacity to do so. So I think success, it's interesting because everyone's a little different. Every business is a little different, but what's really unique about, I guess, your industry is, yeah, you have a job, but you're coming, you're coming in and really helping people in a really, I would think, such a hard point in their life. So it's a unique scenario.
Yeah, you're right. It really is like a hard part in the person's life. Like the commercial side is a little bit different because something happens at a commercial building, people can go home, they can go to sleep, spend time with their families. When something happens in their home, that's one step below having a death in the family from my experience of the way people handle things. Like it's very emotional. It's their castle, right? Like the king of the castle. Like if they can't, they have trouble sleeping because our equipment's running. Like it's a disturbance to their lives, is what I'm getting at. So yes, it's very emotional. And people sometimes say to me, they're like, "Oh, John, I bet you can't wait for like a big hurricane to hit us, and you want storms and all that kind of stuff." And I'm like, no, I don't, because there's always going to be things that are going to happen. Like, but I just want to be the person that gets the call so we can help them, with our great team that we have and create a great customer experience for them.
So
It's
I love that you just brought up customer experience because I think, like you just said, it's a really stressful scenario a lot of those times, especially for like a homeowner. Um, and I think you guys have a unique opportunity to create a great customer experience in a really hard time, which is not easy to do by
Yeah.
any means. And so when we think about marketing on a regular basis, that customer experience, that user experience is always front and center. Like, is there anything that you guys do specific or as far as just like your overall culture that you want your team to be remembered for when you go into these scenarios?
Excuse me.
actually
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as far as customer experience, like it's always top of mind for whenever we're working with clients. And so, is there anything specific that you guys do that you are remembered for your customer experience, or just the hospitality piece of the business during a really stressful time for them?
Yeah. So, like, I don't have like a particular like gimmick or anything like that we do like when we go out there, but like what we do to make sure they have a great experience is we make sure we do extensive training with our team. And then we make sure we hone in on the empathy side of things, because you hire somebody like, hey, we're going to go ahead and do fire and water damage cleanup. Like, what exactly is that? Like, people that haven't done that before, like really don't understand what it's like to go into somebody's home when they have like 2 feet of water in their basement. Like the customers sometimes like they're crying, right? They're hysterically crying, like their house is damaged. They're very, very upset. So like what we try to do is kind of go over those scenarios, do some role playing so they understand the situations that they're in, so they know how to react to the customer. They're empathetic with the customer. And I feel like sometimes on like most jobs, like we're like almost like psychologists, not that we're going to fix their problems, but like they really just need to vent to us. They end up, they vent, they, need to kind of express their feelings, and we just need to, listen, just be empathetic, like towards the customer. So I would say that's like the main, like one of the main things that we focus on as far as like our team members that have that first contact with the customer.
Yeah, I think that's hugely important because like people are, not to turn a phrase, but are essentially drowning in their emotions at that moment, and they're looking for
Yeah.
some sort of safety that says like, hey, there's some sense of a guarantee that things are going to get better. And I don't mean to turn this into a feelings discussion, but like that's
Yeah.
rough, right? That's rough for these people. So like be able to come in there and not be, not start, going at it and just be like, yeah, this is just a job we do. Like, let's go get things done and get out of here and get it done. Like there is a moment there for you guys to leave a lasting impression with everybody and to, again, play onto that customer service and to leave them with not only a restored home, but restored sense of confidence in the industry you guys are in.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. I mean, it is about feelings, right? Like that's a huge part of what we do is like I was saying, being empathetic, because the other side of it is like we do this every day, right? Like we've seen thousands of homes flooded. Like to us, it's just like I'm not going to say to us it's just another home, but like hey, here's how we're going to handle this. Like we kind of just want to get down to business, but that's where the training comes in. Like, hey guys, like make sure you still have that empathy. Like yes, you've seen 1,000 of these, but take the time to listen to the customer. Obviously, you want to answer all the questions. Sometimes you got to be a shoulder to cry on. That's what we do, and we make sure that everybody understands that. And
Now,
some people aren't cut out for that.
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure that can take a tax and a toll on your employees as well. And you being there for them, after they've gone through situations like that, right? Because I'm sure if you see that thing every single day, like it's got to be a wear and tear on some of the employees as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be a strain. It definitely can be.
Now, let me ask you this. Like, you guys are, like, there's two sides of the coin, right? Like, you guys are coming into a situation where things have gone all to hell, essentially, and you're trying to solve that problem. Does SERVPRO do anything on the opposite side of that? Is it like preventative nature stuff, or is it all just, problems and solutions?
So it's all pretty much problems and solutions in the sense that we do like all the mitigation. So that means the cleanup, preventing further damage by like letting something sit. But then we also do reconstruction as well. So we're what you call like a full service restoration company. So say somebody has like a water damage in their basement, hot water heater breaks. So we go in, we dry everything out, remove any wet building material that needs to be removed, and then we can put everything back together. So it's like one-stop shop. I'm sure you probably heard the tagline before, like it never even happened. If customers want us to do the whole entire project from beginning to end, we can make it like it never even happened.
Of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's funny because we try to be that one-stop shop too. It's typically easier when you can, right? And you're dealing with one person, one vendor, one contact. You already have the trust. The trust is there. So it makes a lot of sense. And if you guys have the capabilities to do it, like, why not, right?
Absolutely.
Is that a every franchise within the SERVPRO network, or not every franchise offers like a full service kind of
So
thing?
not every franchise offers full service restoration as far as mitigation and reconstruction. A lot more do it now than used to do it, say 5 years ago. But I don't believe everybody on the system is full service as of right now.
Okay.
Is that a big differentiator for you versus not just, other franchises in your space, but other competitors?
It is, yeah. There's definitely some competitors of ours that only do one thing, right? They only do water damage, or they only do mold. We do, like I mentioned before, water, fire, mold. So it's one stop shop for all the nasty stuff that you
Mm.
don't want to touch. So what I always tell people, basically, if it's dirty or nasty, we clean it up. So anything like that, anytime you think of something like that, that's where we come in, clean it up, and then put everything back together.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being a homeowner with an issue and being like, hey, like I have this huge problem, and someone coming in and being like, oh, I'm sorry, we only do one of those three things. And it's like, then what do I do? Like that would be awful.
Yeah. Exactly, because people are busy with their lives, with their
Right.
jobs, with their businesses, with their families. Like, who wants to interview general contractors? to find out, if that's the person that you want to hire. So, we build a relationship on the mitigation side. And then most of the time people have us, put everything together on the reconstruction side. And then one of the ways we're kind of different from like a different contractor, a general contractor that typically works in your house, is like we work with insurance companies all the time. We have national accounts with certain insurance companies. So like we know their billing process. We know what the insurance adjusters need to see to authorize it. A lot of contractors, and there's some really, really good contractors out there, like they'll put something like on a legal pad, right? They just write it out like, hey, here you go. Like that's not going to fly with the insurance company.
Right.
So we know how to write everything so it gets approved by the insurance company.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge deal. I would think it's a big, not a big selling point, but like it's a big deal to get it done right, to streamline the process, and
turnkey
that makes
as much as
it makes
possible.
a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have a question. Since again, you're our first like franchisee owner on our show. As far as marketing goes, like national marketing versus local marketing for the company, what does corporate do on the national side? Do they do anything for the local side for all of your locations, or like how does that typically work?
So on the national side, SERVPRO Corporate, they have a national advertising campaign. I don't know, you might have seen some commercials on TV. So they have, the national commercials. They have some sponsorships, like one of them is like with the PGA Tour. I believe they had something with NASCAR. I'm not sure if they still have that. But they have some different things in the national level that you'll see if you're paying attention to, any big sporting events or things like that. On the local level, the individual franchisees pretty much handle that themselves. So like for my SERVPRO territories, like all the local marketing that we do, whether it's like direct mail, sponsoring a little league team, like that kind of stuff, like we handle that in house. So when you think of SERVPRO corporate, they are all national. All the local stuff is the franchisee.
Gotcha. So you control pretty much your entire marketing apparatus.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've known you for a little bit, and it's nice to see the growth happening, firsthand. And I can say I've seen the local marketing, and it seems to be working. And obviously, the growth kind of shows that. So it's good to see.
Well,
I
thanks,
want to
man.
get into like the charity component, these challenges, these fitness challenges that you do. I know you kind of talked a little bit about it earlier of a no regret kind of mentality when you're older.
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming a lot of that falls into this as well. But like, tell us a little bit about some of this stuff that you do.
Yeah. So for the past, I forget how many years it's been now. If it's been like say roughly 7 years, and don't quote me on that. Might be slightly shorter, but anyway. So like every year, like going back to no regrets mindset, like live life to the fullest type of thing. Like I always like to go on adventures, whether it's, I don't know, like surfing, like that kind of stuff, spearfishing, doing different things to have fun. So I remember there was one time, I forget what year it was. Maybe it was 2006 or seven. But anyway, like I was just kind of looking at like, hey, what do I want to accomplish this year? And there's somebody that I know that he would pick like a different challenge every year and just do it. Like one year he did an Ironman, and he was not like an Ironman like in shape
Yeah.
type of guy at the beginning of it, but he got himself in shape. And I'm like, that'd be fun. Like I should pick something kind of crazy and just go do it. So the first thing that we did is we did, and I say we because my good friend Jeremy Giulio, we did most of these challenges together. So the first one that we did was the Cape to Cape paddle. So what it is from Lewes, Delaware to Cape May, New Jersey. You paddle across the Delaware Bay. It was like 17 miles. And then we paddled around New York City. So 25 miles. They don't have it anymore. It used to be called the Sea Paddle in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So you start underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and then you go around to Chelsea Piers. It was 25 miles, and through the Harlem River, East River, and then down the Hudson. So we did that one year. I've done some like long bike rides before, like some, I biked to Montauk one time. We did the MS ride down to like from Sandy Hook to Cape May, New Jersey. And then one of the interesting ones we did 2 years ago, we rode the whole entire length of New Jersey with a lifeguard boat. I don't know if you ever seen like the lifeguard boats on the Jersey Shore with the holes in them. They're called ACs. So we rode, me, my buddy Jeremy, and then two other people, rode them from Cape May, New Jersey, all the way up to Sandy Hook, the whole entire length of Jersey Shore, 135 miles. Took us 3 days to do it. And then we've done some stand-up paddling. We stand-up paddled to New York City one time, 30 miles from Oceanport. And whenever we do that stuff, we always, either there's a charity involved with it already, or we pick our own charity. So this year, we're riding our bikes from Port Jervis, New York, all the way down to Cape May. It's roughly 210 miles. It might be a little bit longer. We're going to do it one day, and we're doing it for the Tackle Kids Cancer Foundation to raise money for pediatric cancer.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. All right, so little backstory, John. Like I've been cycling for years. I think the longest one-day ride I've ever taken without falling asleep immediately afterwards was 50 miles. And like that's like you said 210. I was like, oh, that's a 5-day venture. One day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Connecticut, so like we have everywhere I go is super hilly, so that's one thing. So I don't know if it's more flat where you are, but that's tremendous. That's crazy.
It's beast mode.
Yeah,
It's
it's
such a
going to
good
be
cause.
a long day. Yeah, thank you. We're excited. But you know what, Steve? Like we've been putting in a lot of training. Like my wife is very patient with me during this time of year because they all tend to be around. And so basically, I'm like Forrest Gump on a bike now, just riding my bike like all over the place to get ready.
That's cool.
Wow.
Like
So
one
you
of our
probably have
training
like
rides, we rode to like Pennsylvania and back.
oh my God, man. That's
Now,
not like I did 35 miles this weekend. My legs are killing, and I ride it every single day. That's oh man, huge credit to you for that.
that's
Yeah, thank
dedication
you.
right
Yeah,
there.
we like to, it's great, raise money for charity and then test yourself at the same time. Like at the, especially towards like the middle and the end of these events, like it's, it's difficult. It's a great challenge.
That's awesome. Now,
Good for
I know,
you.
I know you mentioned like you have a group or your buddy Jeremy. How important is it to have, like that support system, I guess, in those kind of scenarios, like these challenges, but also do you have any kind of support system like that in your business as well?
Yeah, so I do have a support system in my business. So like, I'm going to say definitely my leadership team that we, like the leadership team for all the different departments. So we definitely hold each other accountable. We have a daily, like quick catch up meeting every single day. Not to solve problems, but to just let everybody know what's going on. So everybody in the organization knows exactly what's going on. And that support system is like crucial. Because if I say I'm going to do something and then I meet with them the next day and I don't do it, like I can't go to that meeting and tell them that, right? So I got to make sure it gets done. And I think it's definitely helpful for me, and I believe it's helpful for the rest of the team as well.
Yeah.
Now, kind of piggyback on that, like Max and I are we like to read, we like to do things to educate ourselves and up our skills and stuff. I mean, you said it before, no regrets, right? Like outside of that, like what are you doing on a regular basis to keep yourself sharp and updated on things that you're doing in your life?
Well, I think like rituals and routines are like super, super important, right? So like fitness is something that's important to me. It's not like I'm out of shape and then all of a sudden like I'm like, oh, I'm going to ride my bike 200 miles. Like I like to be able to run around with my kids and do cool things with them and be in good enough shape to do it. So, one of the first things I do almost every day, like probably work out five days a week, is, make sure I work out, 5 days a week in the morning. I make sure what I'm trying to do right now is like my most productive time of day is the morning. So I'm trying to work on like the most important things that will move my business forward, like as soon as I get up in the morning. So I used to get up, as soon as I get up, I would go to the gym. Now what I'm doing is I'm getting up and I'm spending that time to work on like the biggest project, the most important project within my business on that. And then I go to the gym immediately after that. So I think like the rituals and routines and sticking to them religiously, not making excuses, like going to bed late isn't an excuse. Being tired isn't an excuse. Like, you got to make sure you get those things done. And it doesn't mean that you're 100% perfect, all the time with them, but like probably 95% of the time. Like, it's very rare if you miss those things.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, that's actually funny. I I used to have consistency is everything on my gym wall at my house, and I didn't finish painting it though. So it's funny because consistency is everything could go both ways though. So it's showing up is that's like the kicker. That's the really important piece.
Yeah. And like when I started my business too, like I would see other, say, SERVPRO franchises, for example, that are doing, a lot more business than me. And, I would like go meet them or, go shadow them. And I'd be like, wow, they're dealing with the same things that I'm dealing with. Right. So there's no magic to it. Like, you want to be successful no matter what you're doing. Like, it's not easy and there's no magic. You just have to like do the important things that will move the business or your goal forward. And like all those shiny things that distract us, Netflix, um, other things just popping up in your life, like, you got to be like very intentional and say, hey, I'm going to ignore all them and, just focus on my goal. And that's probably like the most important thing whenever you start something for the first time. So like starting the business, starting a workout routine, starting anything. It's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the World's Strongest Man competition back in the day. It used to be in like Sundays and stuff. And they would have like the truck puller, the plane pull, right? Where one guy would like have this rope and try to move the truck. The toughest part of that is in the beginning to get the momentum, right? And then once you get the momentum, it's easier. And that's exactly how it is starting a business, workout routine, all those other things I just mentioned. So like, if you want to do something new and really change something, like, you got to be 100% focused and you have to be very consistent and driven, and there's no magic.
It's funny. I was just going to ask you if you had any specific advice or suggestions for like a young entrepreneur in 2024, but I feel like you just kind of gave it, which is good. My question would be, as you're growing, as you're scaling, as you have these goals, are there any specific challenges that you're seeing in your industry or just the market, that is really affecting you or your team or anything like that you could share?
Yeah, like there's always headwinds in some form or the other, right? It's not downhill like coasting. There's always things that are going to pop up. And the way I kind of look at things is like what can I do? Like I'm the lid. If anything is holding back the organization, I think it's myself. Because you can look at like other companies doing $100 million, right? We're not there yet. And that's because they chose to work on certain things that are important, for the goals that they're trying to get to. So again, like, I think it's less industry specific and more like, what am I focusing my time on and my team's time?
Nice. So we usually, and this is kind of like one of the last questions we like to ask people, and I think it's just basically sparked out of my interest in having meeting people over the years, either in our industry or in kind of a parallel to our industry. I'm always curious. Like, did 10-year-old John think he'd be doing this today? Like, do you think this was the path you were ultimately going to take? And, and how did you get here ultimately? I mean, we covered some of that in the beginning, but like, if you just give us some of that, insight into, 10-year-old John's head, you think he'd be doing this at this current age?
Yes, wow, 10-year-old John's head. So, I mean, would I ever think I would be in fire, water damage, cleanup, and restoration? Not in a million years. Being in a position as a business owner, I would probably say like yes, because I always figured, like, no matter what you're doing in your life, you're going to be working hard, right? I could be working as a laborer, digging ditches, working at a farm, something like that. Like, that's going to be difficult, right? And there's also always going to be stress, right? If you're a CEO of a company, there's stress. If you're the person digging ditches or a janitor, whatever it is, like, you're going to have stress too. It might be maybe, hey, it's tougher to make ends meet with paying bills and that kind of stuff. So it's like, the way I always looked at it is, what kind of stress do you want? And I always kind of wanted to be in charge of my own destiny, meaning that, Like if I worked really hard, I didn't want it to be for like an hourly wage. I wanted it to be to build something. Again, going back to that no regrets mindset. So someday I can look back and like, wow, look at this amazing company that my team and I built together. And it's how it affected people's lives in a positive way. Our customers, our team members, like they were able to start with me as like one of our guys started with us. He was living in his parents' basement. He's a young kid. He's like, 20 years old. Now he's, bought his first house a number of years ago. He's engaged to get married. To see people grow within that organization, like to me, that's very fulfilling. So I would say yes. Like I could see myself here, but not in this industry.
That's
Love
awesome.
that.
I think one key takeaway is the inspiration here. It's definitely inspiring, and I think, like you said, you're looking to inspire your employees on a regular basis. I think the no regrets mindset it's so key. Like I think it has definitely worked well for you on your business and also on the things you really enjoy as well with these challenges, which is always great because they're going towards charity, and we love that piece. Um, to wrap this up though, I'd love to, where can people find you? Where should they search? This is your chance to call out your site, your socials. How do you want people to contact you?
Yeah, so probably the best place to contact me directly would be on LinkedIn. I'm not personally on Facebook or Instagram or any of that stuff. We were talking about being intentional with your time, and I just think like me personally, like a lot of that's a waste. So I'm just involved in LinkedIn. Um, so yeah, that would definitely be the best place to find me. And I just want to circle back to something real quick. You're talking about like some younger people watching this, and trying to get some maybe involved in getting in their own business, or starting something. So like it might sound like I have things figured out, like, oh wow, like look at this guy's doing this charity stuff, like he's doing this. Like I I'm far from having things figured out. The older I get, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't have things figured out. So like I used to look at like certain businesses and be like, oh, they're perfect, they got it figured out. So like what I realized is nobody has it figured out. It's always a work in progress, and you just have to have that growth mindset and just be hungry every day just to get better. So I think that's the main thing on that. But if you want to find me, LinkedIn's the best place.
Fantastic. Love that. Love that ending message. I think you're spot on there too. So, John, really, really appreciate your time, your insight, love hearing about the journey here, how it all started, and where you're going to be taking this thing. And yeah, if anyone's looking or needs help in this space, definitely reach out to John. You can find him on LinkedIn, and appreciate everyone for listening. Have a good one.
Max and Steve, thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening. Feel free to reach out to us for all things marketing at attentiontrading.com.